Now, aromatic compounds, we must remember, will be the most stable of compounds. और वही हम आज पढ़ने वाले हैं when we'll discuss aromaticity. From where aromatic which is very stable and anti-aromatic which are not stable. Okay. So, what are the basic conditions required for aromaticity? बहुत बार पढ़ा होगा. One is Huckel's rule. Now we will learn this in detail now when we are learning aromaticity. But basic level में Huckel's rule says that if there are 4n plus 2 pi electrons, then the compound is aromatic. 4n plus 2 pi electrons. That means this n can take any value. N can be 0, it can be any integer, 0, 1, 2 and so on. Okay. So if it is 4n plus 2 pi electrons, then it is aromatic. Now if it is only 4n, no plus 2, only 4n pi electrons, then it is anti-aromatic, against aromaticity. Okay, so this is one of the basic requirements for any aromatic compound, 4n plus 2 pi electrons. This is GOC obviously, what we are discussing, पर ये हमारा थी subject में भी है. 4n plus 2 pi electrons is aromatic and 4n pi electrons is anti-aromatic. Now how to decide? What are the other conditions? One major condition is it should be conjugated. It should be a conjugated system. It should be a cyclic system. वो तो basic necessity. अभी मैंने non-aromatic दिखाया where it was not cyclic. So one of the fundamental thing will be it has to be cyclic. Second is it has to be conjugated. And third it is planar. A planar, when discussing, I will explain how to understand this planar or otherwise. And it has to be 4n plus 2 pi electron. These are the 4 conditions which have to be satisfied. Now let us see, I'll take few examples. Now let us first take अपना basic example ही benzene ही ले लेते हैं. Okay. Now what does it mean cyclic? अभी ये तो आपको दिख ही रहा है. This is cyclic. Then conjugated. Conjugated means what is the meaning of the term conjugated? That's also important. You should know. It should be either alternate, single and double bond, or it should be single and single means sigma bond. Okay, or I'll make it sigma. It should be alternate, sigma and pi bonds, or it should be sigma pi bond बोलने से अच्छा I will say it should be like this, sigma pi sigma. Okay, it should be sigma pi sigma. इस तरह से alternate होना चाहिए, sigma के बाद pi, pi के बाद sigma, or it can be sigma pi positive. Positive means vacant p orbital. Okay, so it should be either sigma pi sigma or sigma pi positive, or it can be sigma pi lone pair. Okay, and it can even be lone pair pi lone pair. जरूरी नहीं कि sigma ही होना चाहिए. Lone pair pi lone pair will also do. Okay, so all this are the basic conditions required for aromaticity. That is, it should be cyclic. It should be conjugated. Conjugated means pi sigma pi, sigma pi sigma, or pi sigma pi, sigma pi positive or sigma pi lone pair, that way. Okay, and then it should be planar, and the most important one is it should have 4n plus 2 pi electrons. अब ये सब satisfy होके भी there will be some compounds which are not aromatic, and then we will explain why they are not aromatic. Okay. So let us see a few examples now. Remember these conditions, please note down these conditions. So we are checking for benzene. Now it is cyclic. Is it conjugated? We can see this is a sigma bond, pi bond, sigma bond, pi bond, sigma bond, pi bond. आपको पूरा cycle में वो alternate होना चाहिए, not like only in one place. So it should alternate. See, this is sigma, then this is pi, then this is sigma, pi, sigma, pi. So पूरा circle में we have checked. So it is conjugated. Then it is planar. And then how to check this 4n plus 2? You have to count each pi bond contains 2 electrons. ये तो हमको पता है ना. Each pi bond contains 2 electrons. This also contains 2 electrons. This also contains 2 electrons. So how many electrons are there in total? How many electrons? How many pi electrons?
6 pi electrons.
6 pi electrons. Yes. So let us just check whether it is satisfying Huckel's rule, because I put n is 1, then 4n plus 2. That means how many electrons? 4n plus 2, 6 pi electron. So I am getting 6 pi electrons. So it is satisfying Huckel's rule. It is we are getting the value n is 1. So yes, it is satisfying Huckel's rule. So it's satisfying everything. It is cyclic, it's conjugated, it's planar, and it is having 6 pi electron, which is 4n plus 2. So usually ऐसा ही होता है. If I put n equal to 0, then it will be 4 into 0 plus 2. So if I have 2 pi electrons, then it is aromatic. Next will be 4 into 1 plus 2. That means 4 plus 2, 6 pi electron. So if I have 6 pi electrons, it is aromatic. Next will be 4 into 2 plus 2. That means 8 plus 2, 10 pi electron. And a difference of 4 electrons. So 2 pi, 6 pi, 10 pi, then 14 pi. These will all be aromatic. Okay. So there are 6 pi electrons. So this is aromatic. So now I know that benzene is aromatic. Although we already know benzene itself is a most basic example of aromaticity. Second, let us see. Now let us see. Let us let it be positive. Yeah. Now let us see if it is first of all cyclic. Yes, it is cyclic. Now let us see if it's conjugate. I'll start from here. I'll start from the lone pair because you have to check the entire cycle. Okay. So if I'm starting from here, it is lone pair, sigma, pi, sigma, positive, sigma, pi, sigma, lone pair. So this is in conjugation because you got lone pair, sigma, pi, sigma, positive, sigma, pi, sigma, lone pair. So this is every time we're having a sigma bond coming in between, and then you have conjugation. So this is a conjugated system. Then you have to count the number of pi electron. Planar है, then pi electron. ये देखो ये एक double bond है. So in this double bond there are 2 electrons. In this double bond there are 2 electrons. So you got 4 electrons, and you have to count this lone pair electron also. So how many electrons are there in total? 2, 4 and 6. So you got 6 pi electrons. So is it aromatic or anti-aromatic? Yes, what
aromatic.
is the state? Aromatic. Okay, that is how you decide whether it is aromatic, anti-aromatic or non-aromatic. Let us take few more examples. Okay, so let us just check. This is cyclic. This is conjugated. Yes, because see, I'm starting from here. It is pi, sigma, positive, sigma, pi, sigma, pi. So it is conjugated. How many pi electrons? 4
4
pi
pi
electrons. Very good. So is it aromatic?
Anti-aromatic.
Huh. Yes, it is anti-aromatic because anti-aromatic requires 4n, where n can be 0, n can be 1. Okay, so if n is 1, then it will be 4 pi electron. Therefore, this is anti-aromatic. Okay. Tell me for this. Is it cyclic? Yes. Is it conjugated?
No.
Yes.
No.
It's not conjugated. Yes. Why? Because if you look here, there's a pi, sigma, positive, sigma, pi, sigma, and again sigma. That means this carbon is actually sp3. Because usually when we say aromatic, carbon has to be sp2. Okay. So therefore, it is not conjugated. And if it's not conjugated, फिर check the number of pi electrons. How many pi? नहीं, पर non-conjugated है तो anti-aromatic नहीं हो सकता है, because anti-aromatic and aromatic both will have conjugated systems. Okay, remember this. दोनों में conjugated system होता है, aromatic, anti-aromatic. But in aromatic there will be 4n plus 2 pi electron, and anti-aromatic में there will be 4n pi electron. So only difference is in this number of pi electron. Otherwise दोनों conjugated system है. Okay, but here conjugation नहीं है. That means it is non-aromatic. It is not anti-aromatic. It is non-aromatic. Okay. Now we will take few heterocyclic compounds also. This is furan. Now tell me, is it cyclic? Yes. Is it conjugated? Yes. Thank you. Is it conjugated? Huh?
Yes.
I can't hear you. Is it a yes or is it a no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. We know that oxygen always has 2 lone pair electron, right? Okay, so it's conjugated. How many pi electrons?
6 pi electrons.
Okay. What about the remaining 2? What about
They
the
are not in
remaining
the
2?
plane.
They are not in the plane. So that means you just count when there are extra lone pair electrons, just count those which are required, because the rest remaining 2 will not be in the plane. So yes, furan is also aromatic. Then one more last example I will give you is tell me in both case which is aromatic or non-aromatic or whatever. The first one.
First one is aromatic and second one is anti-aromatic
Why is this aromatic?
because it has 2 electrons and
5 electrons. Okay. And it is in conjugation.
yes.
And here it is in conjugation, but there are 4 pi electrons.
4 electrons.
So because there are 4 pi electrons, it is anti-aromatic. Okay, so now we know what is aromatic. Now let us learn. So now we already know what is aromatic. So what we are going to learn today is regarding aromaticity. So what your syllabus tells is regarding aromaticity, I will just tell you what your syllabus is. It says, this is the part that I am going to discuss today. Under aromaticity, we are going to learn structural, thermochemical, and magnetic criteria for aromaticity. So this is one topic we have to learn, that is structural, thermochemical, magnetic criteria for aromaticity. Second is NMR characteristics. Of aromatic systems. Third is delocalization and aromaticity. Some of these terms you must be already familiar with, like delocalization. And so delocalization, what is its impact on aromaticity? This three. Then after that, application of, these are the various topics that we have to learn under aromaticity. Application of HMO theory. HMO is Huckel's molecular orbital theory. To monocyclic conjugated system. Fifth is Frost-Mucillin diagram. Then Huckel's, now this part we already completed, okay? Huckel's 4n plus 2 and 4n pi electrons. This we have completed just now. And this is basic aromaticity. Now this is what we have to do under basic aromaticity. Beyond this, we have to do homoaromatic compounds, which I'll be doing later on. आज हम इसमें सब कुछ तो नहीं करेंगे, but we'll try to cover maximum. Homoaromatic compounds, aromaticity of benzenoid systems, heterocycles, metallocenes, azulene, aniline, aromatic ions, and fullerene. So these are the various concepts that we have to learn under this. So we will start with structural, thermochemical, magnetic criteria for aromaticity. Okay. So now we already know what is aromatic, and we know Huckel's 4n plus 2 and 4n pi electrons. So I'm going to start with structural, thermochemical, and magnetic criteria. So when we talk of a structural, we are generally talking of the bond length in the aromatic molecules. Okay, we evaluate the bond length. That is what is meant by structural evaluation. Okay, bond length. Nothing much to learn here, because we know that in an aromatic ring, since we know the Kekule's model of aromatic benzene ring, we are learning for benzene basic aromaticity. And we know that there are alternate, single and double bonds. And we also know that we believe that there is a resonating structure, that these double bonds alternate. I mean, they don't alternate. Resonance does not actually exist. It is just a hypothetical situation. There is nothing called per se. There is nothing called resonance. I'm so sorry. So we know this double bond and all single bond positions may be different in both, and we know that the actual structure is somewhere in between these two. These two structures are known as canonical structures, and the actual structure is somewhere in between both of these. Okay, so we know that there is a resonance hybrid, and what actually is this hybrid? We know that we show it this way. This is a resonance hybrid. What we mean to say is that these pi electrons, now yahan when we are writing, we are having a carbon here, we are having a carbon here, a carbon here, a carbon here, a carbon here, and a carbon here, which is attached to one hydrogen each. Now, when we talk of resonance, what we are trying to talk is that this double bond or this pi bond exists between this carbon and this carbon. We know that pi bond is formed by overlap of lateral overlap of p orbitals, unhybridized p orbital. So actually ऐसे होना चाहिए ना, there will be a benzene ring. There will be a benzene ring. At every vertex there is a p orbital which is unhybridized. And we believe that there is overlap. When pi bond is formed, there is overlap. So suppose this is overlapping with this, one pi bond is formed. This is overlapping with this, another pi bond is formed. And this is overlapping with this, a third pi bond is formed. And in the resonating structure, you will have just the position of the pi bonds changing. You will have p orbital at each vertex. And then now your pi bond will be here. So this is what is meant by resonating structure. These are canonical structure, and we know that both of these structures are not true, and our actual structure is somewhere between these two, and that is why we are showing it like this. That means the entire p bond jo hai, it is not the property of any two carbon atoms, but it is shared equally by all the 6 carbon atoms. So it is shared equally by all the 6 carbon. मतलब ना तो ये इधर है, it is not localized. That is what we mean by using the term delocalized. That means all 6 carbon atoms are going to share this pi bond. All 6 carbon atoms are going to share this pi bond. So that is what we mean by saying delocalization. It is not owned by any two carbon atoms. यानी ना तो ये carbon और ये carbon के बीच में है या इसके, but it is shared by all 6 carbon atoms. And ideally what happens is we find there is a ring of electrons, or there is a ring of electrons above the plane, because this is a planar structure, and then there is a ring of electrons above the plane of the benzene ring and below the plane of the benzene ring. So ऊपर से और नीचे से there's a cloud of electron above and below the plane. If you just imagine the benzene ring is like your notebook or something, so above that you have a plane of electrons and below that you have a plane of electrons. or a ring of electrons, not plane, a ring of electron above and below the plane of the benzene ring. Okay, so this is delocalization. So as we said, we were going to talk about the bond length. This is delocalization, obviously. Delocalization gives more stability because the pi electrons are shared by all the carbon atoms. Now the bond length in benzene, is found to be around, these bond lengths are found to be around 1.39 angstrom units. Okay, and this is actually not the length of a true single bond or true double bond. All the bonds in benzene have a length of 1.39 angstrom units. Okay, so they are all, that is why we are talking about this delocalized, because otherwise what should happen? The single bond should be longer, the double bond should be shorter, but here we find that all of them have the same length, bond length in case of benzene. So that will happen only if you have something like this. Otherwise, usually double bonds in usual, like in an alkene, if you have a double bond, if suppose I'm telling C double bond C in an alkene, the length will be 1.33 angstrom units. So regular double bonds have a bond length of 1.33, but our benzene one has a bond length of 1.39. Now, if I talk of an alkane, a carbon-carbon bond in an alkane, then we find that it has a bond length of 1.54 angstrom units. Okay, 1.54. So a single bond usually has a bond length of 1.54 and a double bond has a bond length of 1.33, and the bond length of our aromatic rings we usually find is in the range of 1.39. That means it is not a true double bond because double bond se lamba hai, not a true single bond because it is shorter than a single bond. So this is one of the structural feature which establishes the stability of the aromatic compound. Okay, because it tells us about the resonance. When this length is seen, that all of them, in spite of the fact that we know that there's a double bond, all of them are showing the same length, and this has been learned by X-ray studies. Okay, X-ray diffraction studies say we have seen that the CC bonds are symmetrical. All these bonds are symmetrical and it is a true hexagon. Okay, ऐसा नहीं कि one bond is long and the other is short, ऐसा नहीं. It is a regular hexagon. All bonds are of the same length. So these facts have established the stability of a benzene ring. Okay, so that is regarding the structural stability. Let us now see the thermochemical. Let us see the thermochemical stability of a benzene ring. One fact we need to learn here because it is regarding the thermodynamic facts. Okay. Now what we are learning here is heat of hydrogenation. Heat of hydrogenation. So this is to explain the thermodynamic stability. Why are benzene rings stable? ये explain करने के लिए we are using heat of hydrogenation. We learned the heat of hydrogenation. Heat of hydrogenation is represented as delta H of H. H standing for hydrogenation. So it shows extraordinary thermal stability. Thermodynamic stability, not thermal, extraordinary thermodynamic stability, which can be explained by calculating heat of hydrogenation. Heat of hydrogenation. Okay, so what we do is we take three different molecules. We take one hexagon ring which has just one double bond. We take another which has two double bonds. Not only two, but they are conjugating. Okay, they are conjugated. And we take a third, that is our benzene ring, and then we calculate the heat of hydrogenation. Okay, so this is our first molecule, that is a cyclohexene molecule. This is cyclohexadiene and so on. Okay, so let us just see how many pi bonds are there, because for hydrogenation, what is the meaning of the term hydrogenation? If I have a molecule, we know that usually double bonds tend to show addition reaction. So if I add a molecule of hydrogen, I know that यहाँ सब हमको पता है ना, there is a carbon here. At each vertex you have a carbon and 2 hydrogen. Okay, because there is no double bond, there will be 2 hydrogen. This will also have 2 hydrogen. This will also have 2 hydrogen. This also 2 hydrogen, but this will be having only 1 hydrogen each. Okay, now when I add one H2, what is happening is one H will add here and one H will add here across the double bond, and this double bond will break. So this is what I'm going to get. I'm going to get here, I will get one H, one additional H being added. So I'm not showing the other H, that is understood. So one H here and one H here, when it adds, this double bond will break. Okay, so the amount of heat that is evolved, because when H will add, heat is given out. Okay, so it is going to evolve 28.6 kilocalories per mole. Okay, 28.6 kilocalories per mole will be given out. Energy will be given out when hydrogenation is taking place across this double bond in cyclohexane. And then we check for the second one. And what we find is, when I'm carrying out hydrogenation of this, because there are 2 double bonds, I will need 2 moles of hydrogen. I will just show wherever the double bond is there, 1 hydrogen will add here. 1 hydrogen will add here, and then यहाँ double bond है तो 1 hydrogen will add here and 1 hydrogen will add here, and it will give out 55.4 kilocalories of energy, 55.4 kilocalories per mole. Okay, and the last one is benzene. Benzene has 3 double bonds, so you'll need 3 moles of hydrogen. So you will need 3 moles of hydrogen, and it will add across the double bond. So यहाँ hydrogen, 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 hydrogen. So 3 moles of hydrogen I've added, and you are going to get 49.8 kilocalories per mole. So much energy is given out. It is an exothermic reaction. Heat is given out. Now, in this case, we saw that there was only 1 double bond, and therefore 28.6 kilocalories of energy is given out. Now, in this case, there are 2 double bonds. So, ideally, what we will be expecting in this case is, since there are 2 double bonds, and each double bond corresponds to 28.6 kilocalories per mole. Here, since there are 2 double bonds, we are expecting amount of energy or heat given out will be 2 into 28.6. This much we are expecting. That means you are expecting, how much is it? 57.2 kilocalories per mole. This much energy you are expecting, but what we have got is 55.4. That means less energy, amount of energy is given. So this difference is known as the heat of hydrogenation here. So that will be 57.2 minus 55.4. How much is that? 1.8 kilocalories per mole, and that explains the stability of this molecule. This was relatively quite stable, and we say it is stable by so much energy. Okay, 1.8 kilocalories per mole, and that we attribute to this conjugated system. Whenever there is a conjugated system, it automatically becomes more stable. Okay, now let us check for benzene. Since each should give out 28.6, we have 3 such double bonds. So amount of heat to be evolved 28.6 into 3. So we are expecting something like 85.8. Previous one it was correct, nah? 85.8 kilocalories per mole. This is how much we are expecting. But how much are we getting? How much heat is actually evolved? The actual heat evolved is 49.8 kilocalories. So what is the difference? This is the difference, 85.8 minus 49.8, that is the difference in energy. So heat of hydrogenation is equal to 36 kilocalories per mole. How did I get 36? I subtracted 85.8, 49.8 from 85.8. So I got 36 kilocalories per mole energy. And we say that therefore benzene is stable because it should have evolved more energy. It is not evolving so much energy because the molecule is already stable. Okay, and because it is stable, it is liberating less energy. So we say benzene is stabilized by 36 kilocalories per mole of benzene. It is stabilized by 36 kilocalories per mole, and that is actually the resonance energy of benzene. Okay, so that is how we justify the thermochemical stability or thermodynamical stability of benzene molecule by explaining in terms of heat of hydrogenation. Okay, you okay so far, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Then there's one more energy which is responsible for this. It should not be thermochemical, it should be ideally thermodynamic. The second energy factor which we are considering for thermodynamical stability is the delocalization energy. Now we already know what is meant by delocalization. So it is a delocalization energy which we consider for thermodynamical stability of the benzene molecule, and this we explain in terms of alpha and beta. That means we are using the Huckel's molecular orbital theory. Okay, terms we are using is alpha and beta. So this is based on, as I already told you, Huckel's molecular. This is an extension of the molecular orbital theory which we already know, and the extension of that is given as Huckel's molecular orbital theory, and it uses quantum theory, quantum mechanics. So we will not go much into the details of that. That is beyond our scope. But a few terms that we need to know: what is meant by alpha, what is meant by beta, and so on. Okay, so alpha this comes from, as I already told you, it comes from Huckel's molecular orbital theory, and this comes from the calculations of the psi value of wave function, and alpha is known as, so Alpha is known as the Coulomb integral. These are all mathematical concepts. Coulomb integral, okay, and represents energy of 2p atomic orbital. We know that we have already seen delocalized होते हैं 2p orbitals है 2p unhybridized orbital. So alpha represents the Coulomb integral of 2p orbital before overlap. And this is the integral before overlap. Before overlap of the molecular orbitals, okay. And then alpha is known as the bonding molecular orbital. So bonding molecular orbitals are known as used as alpha, and those having more energy in than alpha are in the anti-bonding. So alpha can be bonding molecular orbital and anti-bonding molecular orbital depending upon the energy. So this is the Coulomb integral of that, okay. And beta is known as the resonance integral. And it represents energy of stabilization due to pi overlap. So this is more important, the beta overlap. Beta component of this derivation of Huckel's molecular orbital, resonance integral, which represents energy of delocalization due to pi overlap. Okay. Now stabilization due to delocalization of electrons between two orbitals, sign convention of alpha and beta are always taken as negative. Remember, the sign conventions are always taken as negative. So what we do here is we compare the energy of the actual molecule to a hypothetical molecule, okay, an imaginary molecule. Suppose there was a molecule which is very similar to benzene, but उसमें delocalization नहीं हो रहा है. मतलब structure सब same है, but we are comparing to that of an hypothetical molecule. That's what we do when we are using this Huckel's molecular orbital theory. We have benzene, where we know that the electron cloud is uniformly distributed above and below because the p orbitals are all related to one another. And we take the case of another molecule which is very similar to benzene, लेकिन इसमें कोई भी delocalization नहीं है. That means the position of the double bonds are fixed. Okay, so we compare the Huckel molecular orbitals for both this. And we find that for benzene, what value we get is 6 alpha plus 8 beta. Whereas for this hypothetical one, what we'll get is 6 alpha plus 6 beta. That means there is a difference of 2 beta, and this 2 beta is responsible for the stabilization of the benzene molecule. The actual calculation is not very much possible because this molecule does not exist at all. Okay, this is just a hypothetical condition which we are calculating. Okay. So this is not measurable quantity and we are just using a hypothetical situation. But because of this, we are able to explain the stability of the benzene molecule. That is due to delocalization, it is stabilized by a term 2 beta. Okay. And that 2 beta will equate to something like more extra 20 kilocalories compared to this. Okay, it will be stabilized by that. And therefore, we also know that in benzene molecule, although there are sigma bonds, there are 6 sigma bonds, but it is a pi orbital which is determining all the properties of the molecule. So the pi electrons are very important in case of benzene because the pi electrons are responsible for the properties of benzene and not the sigma bond. Sigma bond hona to chahiye, but sigma bond is not responsible. That does not dictate कि molecule ऐसे होगा. All that dictation comes from the pi electrons. Okay, and the reason is pi electron को हम कोई भी side में जैसे चाहिए वैसे करा सकते हैं. We can make it undergo reaction. We can make so many things happen. We cannot make the sigma bond undergo reaction in case of benzene. We can make the pi bond undergo reaction. So we can actually distort the pi bond. And that is why it is possible for us to define the molecule in terms of its pi electrons. Okay, and sigma bonds we know are very strong bonds, so they are very stable. तो फिर उसका कोई comparison नहीं है. So the 3 pi bonds in benzene, they are responsible for almost all the properties of the benzene molecule. Okay, so although in total if you check, you can see every sigma bond also has 2 electrons. Every sigma bond has 2 electrons. So 2 electron, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And then there are 6 pi electrons also. So total there are 18 electrons. Out of these electrons, when we are talking of benzene, we talk only about the 6 pi electrons. So we are reducing the system from an 18 electron system to a 6 electron system. Okay. Whenever we are talking of benzene, we are talking about a 6 electron system. And what we do is, we always consider, these are some of the conventions that we need to remember. When we have this p orbital in which our pi electrons are, Baki, you know that there are 3 we know that there are 3 p orbitals, but out of the 3 p orbitals, that is in carbon, you know, you have 2px, 2py and 2pz. So this px and py are involved in hybridization. So this will go in sp2, and only pz mein this is unhybridized. So these electrons are unhybridized and we assume they are in the pz. Okay, we presume that they are in the pz. So this is the unhybridized p orbital. These two are hybridized. So ये तो hybridization में चला जाएगा as sp2, and the only unhybridized orbital we presume is the pz orbital. It could have been any one of them because px, py, pz, they are all equivalent, degenerate. But we still, for convenience, as a convention, we take pz as an unhybridized orbital. Okay. And therefore, those 2 parameters which we were using, the alpha and beta, this is concerned with these electrons. Okay, so that is how using 2 different thermodynamical concepts. One is the HMO, that is a Huckel's molecular orbital, where we are saying it is stable by 2 beta. And then the second was using the heat of hydrogenation. So between using these 2 terms, we are explaining the stability of the aromatic ring. The third thing we are going to talk about is the magnetic criteria. So before we learn the magnetic criteria, once again let us just briefly go to structural. What kind of reactions would you expect benzene to give? Will you expect substitution reactions or addition reactions in case of benzene?
Substitution reaction.
Substitution. Although ideally, because there is a double bond, it should have undergone addition, because double bonds usually undergo addition reaction. But we find that benzene preferably undergoes substitution reaction. That is why we say these double bonds are quite stable in case of benzene. The pi bonds are quite stable in case of benzene. Okay, now we go to the magnetic criteria. One term we are learning here is known as the aromatic ring current. So again, the term we are going to use is delocalized pi electrons. Okay, and now we already know what it is. We know that our electrons, the pi electrons, are forming a ring above and below the plane of the benzene ring. एक इसके नीचे होगा. Okay, so it is equally distributed between all the carbon atoms. These pi electrons are equally distributed between all the carbon atoms. Okay, now when such a ring is placed in an external magnetic field, when it is placed in an external magnetic field, what will happen is this cloud will start moving. Okay, because there is a ring of pi electrons, which, because you know all these pi electrons are negatively charged. Okay, and charged bodies will move in an electrical field. We already know this. So because we have charge on this ring system here, when you place it in an external magnetic field, they will start circulating. Okay, the pi electrons will circulate. Again, I repeat, that is because any charged body, when placed in a magnetic field, will start moving. And therefore, since it is a ring, it will start circulating. And that is known as the ring current. Okay, the current which is produced due to the circulation of the pi electrons when placed in an external magnetic field is known as a ring current. Okay, and I hope you know what is meant by the term paramagnetic and diamagnetic. Anyway, I will tell it so that there is no confusion. Paramagnetic means when electrons are unpaired. Okay, when electrons are unpaired, that means when there are unpaired electrons present and they are placed in a magnetic field, then those electrons are attracted towards the magnetic field. Okay, electrons are attracted towards the magnetic field. That means they themselves behave like a magnet, and therefore we call them as paramagnetic. But if the electrons are paired, if the electrons are paired, all the electrons are paired, and we place it in a magnetic field, it actually gets repelled. Okay, so that is such bodies or such atoms are known as diamagnetic. So you have paramagnetic, you have diamagnetic. Diamagnetic means all electrons are paired. Paramagnetic means there are unpaired electrons present in it. Now in benzene we know all electrons are paired. Okay, so the kind of ring current they will produce is a diamagnetic, that means repelling ring current. They will have a diamagnetic ring current because all electrons are paired. So this is one basic difference between aromatic and anti-aromatic, because aromatic will always be showing a diamagnetic ring current, whereas anti-aromatic will always show a paramagnetic ring current because they do not have all electrons paired. Okay. So now we'll talk of proton NMR. So now two facts we need to remember is, first of all, a ring current is produced because there's a cloud of electrons above and below the plane of benzene. Okay, and which will circulate in the presence of an external magnetic field. Okay, so just remember these terms. We have a benzene ring. On the benzene ring we have a ring of electron cloud. Below also we have a ring of electron cloud. That means the electrons are equally shared by all the 6 carbon atoms, and therefore the ring is below and above the plane of the ring, and in the presence of an external magnetic field this will start circulating. The reason it will circulate is because it is carrying negative charge, and all negative bodies will move in presence of a external magnetic field. Okay, because they will produce their own magnetic fields. That is why they start moving. Okay, so because of this movement, kind of magnetism is induced. Okay, a magnetic field is induced. So we can write that as B induced. This is a magnetic field which is induced. In short, I'll write as B ind, meaning magnetic field induced. Why is this induced? Because it is placed in a magnetic field. The moment you remove the external magnetic field, this will go away, because then your electrons are not acting as a magnet. They will act as a magnet only when they are placed in a external magnetic field. Okay. So now we are going to the main concept, because what happens is, you know what is an NMR, isn't it? It's a nuclear magnetic resonance. It's an instrument where a magnetic field is produced, is provided. A magnetic field is provided, and we are learning the protons here. What we are trying to learn is each proton. Okay, what is the effect of the magnetic field which we are applying? That's what we want to know. Okay, now because of this induced magnetic field, what happens is two types of region are produced. So we get something like a cone like this. Okay, and two zones are produced. One is known as the shielded region, and the other obviously will therefore be known as the de-shielded region. Okay, so two regions are produced. Within the cone is a shielded region, and outside the cone is the de-shielded region. And outside is the de-shielded region. Now what happens is, because of this, now suppose I got a benzene ring here. I got a benzene ring here. And I have got delocalized electrons above and below. Okay. And when we place them in a magnetic field, how the electron, the induced magnetic field is going to move. So it's going to move like this. Same way. This is how your induced current is going to move. Okay. Like this. Now the direction, if you see, it will be like this. So now look at the de-shielded region. De-shielded region means this is the direction in which our applied magnetic field is. That I'll write as B0. So my applied magnetic field is in this direction. And if you look in the de-shielded region, our electrons, the induced magnetic field is also in the same direction. So what is happening is there is a total magnetic field that is created, original magnetic field plus this induced magnetic field, both are acting in the same. So it is going to be plus this ho jayega. But when you come in the shielded region, what is happening is it is coming in the opposite direction, because our magnetic field is in this direction and this is coming in the opposite direction. If you look here also, it is coming in the opposite direction. So in the shielded region, it is opposing the external magnetic field, and in the de-shielded region, it is on the side of the applied magnetic field. So bahar it is going to be added, total effect badega, because there is external magnetic field plus our magnetic field of our electrons itself, whereas within the shielded region it is going to be opposite, it is going to be cancelled off. Okay, so any substituent which will be present on this aromatic ring, any substituent on the aromatic field that will fall in the shielded region will experience less magnetic field, and the which are in the outside will this will feel less magnetic field because oppose ho raha hai, and this will feel more magnetic field because they are in the same direction, they are supporting it, additive ho jata hai, add ho jata hai. Okay, so this H, suppose there's an H here and there's an H here, because we know that at each vertex is going to be an H. So these H are in the de-shielded region. If you can see, they are lying outside the cone. They are in the de-shielded region. They will experience more magnetic field. Okay, as both the fields are in the same direction, they are going to feel more magnetic field. So this is what we are actually calculating in our HNMR spectra. That is a proton NMR spectra. The hydrogen attached to the ring. Here we will use two more terms. We use the term downfield and upfield. Okay. So this is downfield, and in this side is upfield. So 0 से लेके 14 तक है. Okay. So these downfield will be our D-shielded electrons. That means D-shielded means they are going to feel more magnetic. They are going to feel more because both are in the same direction. This plus this it will happen. And those which are in the shielded region, they are going to be upfield because they are going to feel less magnetic field. So these are shielded region. So upfield are shielded, downfield are de-shielded. Okay. So this is how we calculate the chemical shift in HNMR spectrum. So you can start from 0. Start from 0 and go. This will be 7 and this will be 14. Okay. So the presence of downshield. The presence of downshield proton, because ये proton तो expected ही है, but the presence of downshield proton actually supports the concept of aromaticity. Okay, so that is how, using structural, thermodynamic and magnetic concepts, we are justifying the presence of or the possibility of aromaticity. Okay. And the last concept we are learning under magnetic criteria are magnetic susceptibility. So susceptibility means how much amount will get magnetized. Okay, I'm sorry. How much amount will get magnetized? In an applied magnetic field. So suppose your apply. अभी हमने देखा कि when we applied magnetic field, those in the shielded region and those in the de-shielded region, what happens? One is feeling strong addition of magnetic field, the other is feeling less. So that similarly, magnetic susceptibility means when you place in a magnetic field, how much will get magnetized? Okay. This also we will calculate using spectroscopy only, otherwise it's not possible. So using spectroscopy, we can find out the magnetic susceptibility ki kitna magnetize hoga. Okay, and that magnetic susceptibility, there's a term for it, we call it as exaltation. Okay, that means it is having more magnetic effect than is expected. That is because it is in the de-shielded region. Okay, so when they have an enhanced magnetic susceptibility, we call it as a magnetic exaltation. Okay, so aromatic compounds always have enhanced magnetic susceptibility because they show delocalization. That is the reason, because they have ring current is created in them when they are placed in a magnetic field. So aromatic compounds having delocalized electrons have enhanced magnetic susceptibility. Okay, whereas if it is a localized pi electron, then it won't show. Like if you have C double bond C, simple alkene, then it will not show this magnetic susceptibility. That is how you determine the structure of the compound. आप proton NMR कर लो, H NMR कर लो, and then you will find out, अच्छा इसका downfield इतना है, इसका upfield इतना है. Then you understand this is a normal alkene, this is an aromatic ring, and so on. So based on these three structures, we have explained the stability of aromatic structure. Okay, so I'll conclude my lecture here. 2 more lectures, 1 hour I'll be taking, and I will finish your whatever I am supposed to be teaching. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye.